welcome back. Well, today I am joined by Carl Rendazzo, and he is here on behalf of United. Well, Carl, thank you for joining me. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to come here every couple of months and let everybody in United know what's going on with the maintenance and construction meeting. Okay, that's happening. And since I'm
we have good information.
Right, exactly. So I just want to say that the United M&C meeting, which we have every other month, the M&C department maintains a project log of major activities, which I've gone through on this program on many occasions in the past. And we went through the ones that we're going to be doing this year. This is just, and I'll just highlight a number of the items that we basically discussed. With regard to the prior to paint program, that fixes all the problems associated with surfaces that need to be painted. This is accomplished before one coat of paint is applied. So we do some sort of maintenance and rip out any rotten woods and what have you. And then 5 or 6 cul-de-sacs are planned to be done this year, and it's part of our new 15-year paint program. The paint program itself then follows, and then we apply paint to all the exterior surfaces of buildings and that haven't been altered by a resident. If it's been altered by a resident, then that resident's responsible for that painting. This is on the exteriors only. 5 or 6 cul-de-sacs are planned to be done this year. And again, that's part of our 15-year paint program. Gutter replacement of deteriorated gutters is planned every year. Budget has been put together for this year's work. As the need arises during the year, other gutters may get replaced depending on what happens. And a minimum of 27 locations have been determined to need gutter replacements due to deterioration this year, but there may be others that we find during the year. Building structures and balconies are inspected and repaired as required during the year. And then any repairs are accomplished after buildings have been inspected in order to maintain safety. And there's a requirement within the law now that certain balconies have to be inspected each year.
Yeah.
Pushmatic electric panels are being replaced in United based on a yearly schedule. There were 1,600 units that needed panel replacement in United. And so far, we have completed 1,150 of those. The number of units scheduled to be completed in 2021 is 275. And that all depends on how well this pandemic works out, because people are not, in certain cases, people are not allowing us into their manors because they don't want workmen in there.
Sure.
Certain cul-de-sacs are seal coated and asphalt is reapplied on a yearly basis. The seal coating is done annually to ensure that cracks are sealed to ensure water does not seep below the pavement and cause erosion to occur, and that will basically cause a pothole. We want to minimize any potholes. Approximately 15 cul-de-sacs will be seal coated this year, and approximately 4 cul-de-sacs will have new asphalt applied. We only do the cul-de-sacs in United. GRF does the streets. Roofs are maintained annually and some roofs are replaced. This year, 18 roofs are scheduled to be replaced in United. Drain lines are lined with epoxy annually in order to prevent needing to dig them up and replace them when they develop leaks. We have cast iron pipes in the ground, and after time, they just start rusting, and then they start causing leaks. And we've been applying this epoxy so we don't have to remove the pipe from the ground and put in a new one. This work is done to prevent leakage. This is a less costly method to reduce the possibility of leakage from these cast iron pipelines. This year, the plan is to epoxy line the waste lines in 3 large buildings and the associated piping around those buildings. And usually we try to do a whole building at the same time because it's easier for us to do that. But if one of the members decides they don't want to have somebody enter their cul-de-sac because some of the work needs to be done within the manor itself, then we have to put that particular unit on hold, and we have to find another building to do. We replaced barbed wire fencing at the top of the walls that surround our community. This barbed wire is replaced with shepherd's crook fencing that is more aesthetically pleasing and is in accordance with the Laguna Woods City requirements. In United this year, we anticipate changing out approximately 300 feet of this fencing. Now, most of the projects that most of the project work that I mentioned is done outside of everyone's home. However, for some activities, as I noted before, we will need to access your unit. During this pandemic, we have and will continue to ask if you will be willing to permit workmen in your home so that the work can be accomplished. Let me say, when we do ask you to do that work, to allow a person in there, he will be wearing the face mask and the clothing and the PPE and what have you, okay? So all of that should be taken care of, but you still have the last word to say no. If you say no, we will not schedule the work for that unit. Hopefully this year with this pandemic will subside and most people will be vaccinated. At that time, we will need to go into high gear and allow this work to go forward, and we will just be scheduling the work so that our mechanical and electrical systems remain functional. It's important that you allow these people into the home so we can get this stuff upgraded and worked out. But unfortunately, we do understand that sometimes you're afraid. But hopefully with this vaccination and the fact that the pandemic may subside, that may minimize that. And then during this meeting, we also discussed the next steps for addressing electric vehicle usage in United. Due to the infrastructure shortcomings in our 50-plus year community, we will not be able to have all the carports to be modified to permit all cars parked overnight and able to charge the electric vehicles. These carports have 20 amp circuits, and these 20 amp circuits usually cover anywhere between 4 and 6 actual plugs. So each car will need approximately 12 amps in order to basically be charged overnight, and that's an 8-hour charge. Well, if you look at it, you have 20 amps available among 4 or 5 or 6 units, okay, and you need 12 amps, okay, out of 20, so you can only charge one a night. If there are 4 plugs per 120 amp circuit, then only one car will be able to be charged for 8 hours at a time. In order to address this shortcoming, SCE, Southern California Edison, has informed us that they will provide infrastructure upgrades in strategic areas to prevent the charging of vehicles in the community. In order for us to tap into this infrastructure upgrade, there is an application process we will need to go through, and we would be one of the many areas in California where they will be making this available. For us in United, certain strategically located laundry rooms seem to be the candidates for this upgrade because we can't do anything in the carports right now.
Right.
However, if our applications are accepted and SCE does their work, we will still need to have an outlay of money coming from our budgets to address additional parking spots and the installation of meters and charging units. In addition, there's the cost of the upkeep and the meter charges. It is a process we are going through at this time, and if we are successful with our application submittal, we will be looking forward to working with SCE and addressing funds that will be needed to allow this to happen. People and said that this particular monies is available for us, meaning them, to upgrade the infrastructure. They will only do it in strategic areas, and obviously they're trying to get the biggest bang for their buck. So that we couldn't be able to do that for the carport areas because that just doesn't give us enough.
Yeah.
But to do it in strategically located areas, SCE would probably allow us to do that. But again, the application process is open to all people in California. Well, all people that are covered by Southern California, Edison in California. And, you know, when you put in an application, they look at it and they review it and they do what they need to do. And if you're on that, you know, if you got your application in first, you're good. If you got your application in last, you may get just thrown away. So
Yeah.
we're working through the process right now to sort of upgrade our possibility of charging electric vehicles, because we know that by 2035, they're supposed to say that they're trying to get almost all cars to be electric in this state. That's not going to happen, but you know.
Well, it'll be a while, I'm sure. But are you
I'm
seeing
sure.
increased demand though for the chargers? I mean, people are buying electric
Uh,
cars?
there seems to be an increase in the village, okay, but only in strategic areas right now. Certain people in certain areas are buying electric vehicles, and other people are not buying any vehicles at all. So,
Okay.
you know, I mean, if you've got a vehicle, okay, and you've had it for 20 years and you basically go to the grocery store once a week, okay, then maybe you don't need an electric vehicle, okay?
Not
It
yet.
all depends. It all depends on the individual.
Right.
We know that electric vehicles will be something in California that will need to be addressing for us. And it is a selling point to get new people into the community, because if they have an electric vehicle and they want to get them into the community, then, and they find out there's no way to charge their car, then that might be something that strikes down the community, okay?
Right.
So we're trying to basically open it up to people to come in here welcoming with various different things. Besides the amenities, we want to actually also have electric vehicles as a possibility to
Great.
charge.
Great. Well, that's a nice thing, and certainly a good feature for the community, like you mentioned.
Right, and if Southern California is willing to give us free money to basically upgrade our infrastructure, okay, that's also a selling point too for us.
Good. Exactly. We'll pray your application's on top.
Yes, pray it is, okay.
All
And
right.
that's basically all I have. Okay,
All right.
thank
I
you.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And we'll be right back after this.